Hello, YouTube Vinyl community, music lovers, fans of the Beach Boys, and everybody else. My name is Jake, and in today's video, I will be showing you my entire Beach Boys music collection. So let's get started. So it's been a while since I made a video like this, so once again, I greatly apologize for the lack of content on this channel, especially considering that many of you have come to my channel for my Genesis ranking video, which is my most popular video by far, so I want to thank everyone that watched that video. It means a lot to me. I've just been really busy with work, I moved, I've been dabbling into some of my own music, so haven't really had much time to make content, but I want to get back into it because I have a lot of video ideas coming up, and I actually wanted to make this video a while ago because the Beach Boys, one of my all-time favorite bands, and I wanted to do this collection this month specifically because it's International Surf Music Month. You know, summer is now here in the United States, and I feel like now is a perfect time to do a video about the Beach Boys. But as we all know, Brian Wilson, the mastermind behind the group, recently passed away. Just devastating news for the music world and a huge loss for me. And I feel like there's more urgency for me to do this video now as kind of like a tribute to Brian Wilson and everything that he has done for the music industry, for rock in general, and just the impact that he has left on millions upon millions of lives across the globe, including my own. So, as an homage to the genius that was Brian Wilson, I'm going to show you guys my entire Beach Boys collection, not just vinyl. I also have CDs and other Beach Boys merchandise that I will be showing you in this video. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So I will be starting this video off with the Beach Boys vinyl records that I own. I mean, my channel is Drysel Vinyl, after all. And I own a lot of Beach Boys records, guys. I believe that they are the most collected group in my entire collection. It's either them or Swans, but they are up there. I own at least 20 Beach Boys records. So enough of me yapping. Let's get started. So the first album that I own by the Beach Boys is, of course, none other than their 1962 debut on Capitol Records, Surfin' Safari. And it's got the title track on here, which is a really good summer jam. You also got Surfin' and 409, which are also really good. This pressing is an original 1962 mono with the rainbow Capitol label. I would say VG Plus wax, and the sleeve is in really good shape. Just hardly any ring wear, no seam splits or anything. Like, this is a really nice condition record, and honestly, it's probably gonna stay that way for quite some time, because other than the 3 songs that I mentioned previously, this album is just, it's honestly not very good. Like, as an album, this is a very mediocre studio release by the Beach Boys, but you can definitely tell that they were onto something special with Brian's iconic vocal harmonies and the surf rock sound that they had developed early on in their careers. But I mean, songs like Chug-a-Lug and Cuckoo Clock, like, they really do not do a whole lot for me. I don't really listen to this album a whole lot. I mainly just have this for collection purposes. But fortunately, as we all know, the Beach Boys greatly improved their sound, and I think that they greatly improved their sound as early as their second album, Surfin' USA, which, honestly, guys, I love this album. I think in terms of surf era Beach Boys, this is one of their best, except for their cover of Miserlou, which I honestly think is a bit lousy in the performance. The rest of this track list is just very fun, very energetic, very uplifting, summery vibes. I love the cover art for this album as well. It just immediately transports me into some like warm tropical paradise where these big waves just crash on the beach. I absolutely just love this cover art and this album. I believe that this is an original pressing from 1963, and this is mono as well. I do plan on upgrading this album in my collection. I want to get the Analog Productions copy. As of making this video, they're still reasonably affordable. I think they only go for maybe 40 or 50 bucks, which is not too bad. I gotta get it pretty soon though, because Analog Productions, they don't own the license for the Beach Boys anymore, so those are going to really increase in value in the next couple of years. And I do own a few Analog Productions Beach Boys albums, but I'll get into that later. About this album, got the title track based off the Chuck Berry song. I forget which Chuck Berry song it is, but it's based off a Chuck Berry song, and I love it. One of my favorite Beach Boys songs from this era. You also got Farmer's Daughter, which is fantastic. Lonely Sea is such a haunting, beautiful cut, and you could definitely tell that that was the direction Brian was going to go in with the Beach Boys sound when you listen to their later albums. Shut Down, Noble Surfer, Lana, Finders Keepers, just very optimistic summertime jams. I love this album front to back. I think it's really good. And yeah, Surfin' USA, classic surf rock record right here. Moving on, we got their third album, Surfer Girl. And this is another fantastic surf era record from the Beach Boys right here. Pretty much every single song on this album is great. You got the title track, which is beautiful, and In My Room is just a very introspective, ethereal ballad. It's so good. And then you got songs like Catch a Wave, South Bay Surfer, Surfer's Rule, Hawaii, which are just super warm, uplifting songs. Another iconic cover art right here. Yeah, pretty much front to back, this thing is great. And I recently upgraded this copy. I used to own an original stereo copy of Surfer Girl. This is a reissue from, I believe, 1976, and it's on a yellow Capitol label, kind of similar to the ones they were doing for like their Endless Summer comp and stuff like that. I would say VG Plus wax. This plays really good. It does have a few sibilance issues, mainly on side 1, but side 2 sounds absolutely fantastic. And yeah, this is a great Beach Boys record right here, Surfer Girl. Continuing in their discography, we got Little Deuce Coupe, which was one of the first ever rock concept albums, as this album mainly has just car-themed songs. And some of these songs were recycled from previous records, such as Little Deuce Coupe, that appeared on Surfer Girl, as well as 409, Shut Down, Our Car Club. But there are some newer songs on this that are really good, like Car Crazy Cutie, Cherry Cherry Coupe, and the penultimate track, A Young Man Is Gone. Beautiful a cappella arrangement from Brian Wilson and the gang, and it's lyrically just a very touching song about a young man who dies in a crash. Just a fantastic song. This is a reissue, by the way. It's got a gold record award sticker from Capitol Records, and this also has the yellow Capitol labels that were standard in the 1970s. Overall, a pretty good record from the Beach Boys. Definitely not one of my favorites, but it is a solid album front to back. And then we move on to Shut Down Volume 2, which is a pretty bizarre entry in their catalog because the highs of this record are super duper high. I mean, you got Fun Fun Fun, which is fun, fun, fun. Don't Worry Baby. Do I even need to talk about that song? It's an absolute masterclass by Brian Wilson. Warmth of the Sun is beautiful. I also like their cover of Why Do Fools Fall in Love a lot. But there are just some really just head-scratching moments on this album, like Denny's drums. what were they even doing? Like, that is obvious filler. I also do not enjoy their cover of Louie Louie at all. It's annoying. And Cassius Love and Sonny Wilson. Okay, I do get a few laughs out of that song, like Mickey Mouse with the sore throat, but it does go on way too long. And this copy is an original stereo from Capitol Records. Overall, a good album, but it is really a mixed bag. And there are a few albums in their catalog that are kind of mixed bags. But this is still a pretty solid record. Shutdown Volume 2. I need to keep my eye contact on this camera, not this camera that's on my MacBook. Anyway, we are moving on into one of my favorite Beach Boys records from this era. We get All Summer Long. Man, this thing is jam-packed with great songs. I Get Around was actually the first Beach Boys song that I remember hearing, and hearing that song for the first time, it really was eye-widening for me, because you get these classic trebly surf rock guitars mixed with Brian Wilson's and Mike Love's iconic voices, and just the atmosphere of this track was so optimistic and uplifting and summery, and I was like, I knew from then I was going to be a fan of this band. So that song is really special to me. And then you also got All Summer Long, the title track, which is great. Hushabye, beautiful ballad, Will Run Away, another beautiful ballad. Wendy is also great. I love that song. Girls on the Beach is beautiful. I mean, this thing is just great song after great song after great song after great song. And I actually own 2 copies of this record. The first is this one that I'm holding in my hand, and this is a Capitol reissue from the 1980s. It's on a green Capitol label. Now, the sucky thing about this pressing is that it is abridged. It doesn't have Carl's Big Chance, and it also doesn't have our favorite recording sessions. So for that reason, I also own an original mono copy of All Summer Long, so that I can get the full track listing if I wanted to listen to the album that way. But admittedly, it has seen better days, and I do plan on upgrading my copy of All Summer Long at some point as well. I don't know which pressing yet, but I am going to consider that down the pipeline. But still, All Summer Long, I'll be playing this all summer long. That's for sure. Up next, we got the Beach Boys Christmas album. And this is a Record Store Day Black Friday reissue on green vinyl. And this is also mono. Very, very good sounding reissue, and really festive green wax. Now, this is not my favorite Christmas album of all time, surprisingly. My actual favorite Christmas album, if you've seen my Christmas music collection video, it's actually A Christmas Gift for You from Phil Spector, or from Philly's Records, which is Brian Wilson's favorite album of all time. So I guess that was a good pick on my end, but I love that album. This album is really good. I mean, you got Little Saint Nick, classic. Man with All the Toys and Santa's Beard are also really, really fun. And then it got really good versions of traditional Christmas carols, like White Christmas and Blue Christmas. Very good. I also really like their jazzy cover of Frosty the Snowman. That version is super fun, and one of my favorite arrangements of that carol. Overall, really solid holiday album, and whenever the weather gets colder and I put my tree up, you know for a fact that I'll be putting this on. So as you guys know, in 1964, Brian Wilson had a mental breakdown and stopped touring, but when he went into the studio to make some new songs from the guys, he was really cooking. And in 1965, they put out the Beach Boys Today. Man, oh man, I adore this record. If you ask me, this is a top 3 Beach Boys album easily. Everything from the production to the songwriting and the arrangements, the advanced musicalities. I mean, this album has it all, and front to back, I think this is an absolute masterpiece. And no, I'm not including Bull Session with the Big Daddy, even though there are some French fries you can all split. Just saying. Back to this album. The copy that I own is an Analog Productions stereo copy, one of the best sounding records in my collection, and I believe the stereo mix just opens this album up so much, and it really makes you think, like, man, like, how was Brian Wilson 23, 22 years old and making these just polished, beautiful soundscapes? It's just mind-blowing. It's honestly mind-blowing. Heavyweight vinyl. It sounds so good, guys. And I believe this is the most valuable record in my collection according to Discogs. If you watched my most valuable records in my collection, go check that video out if you haven't. But back to this album. I mean, a lot of people talk about side 2, which is understandable. I mean, you got Please Let Me Wonder, which is a limerence anthem. It's gorgeous. Kiss Me Baby, absolutely beautiful. In the back of my mind, one of Denny's best vocals, hands down. But side 1 has got amazing material as well. Good to My Baby, love that song. When I Grow Up, very existential. Another song I absolutely love. Help Me Rhonda, the original version of Help Me Rhonda is on here. Love that song. And Don't Hurt My Little Sister is one of the most underrated Beach Boys songs. I will die on that hill. The vocal arrangement of that song is next level. Literally, it's next level. I love this album. It is amazing. It's just amazing. Up next, we got Summer Days and Summer Nights. And no, this is not a duophonic stereo pressing. This is actually a mono reissue from the 2010s. Why it says duophonic stereo, I don't know. It annoys me to no end, but whatever. This is another great album from the Beach Boys. Definitely a step down from today, with some filler at the end. But I mean, you got some really great songs on this thing, like Girl Don't Tell Me. I believe this was Carl's vocal debut, and he kills it on that song. And you also got California Girls, classic. Let 'Em Run Wild might be my favorite song on the album. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And You're So Good to Me is also really, really, really good. Very high quality pressing. And even though I do prefer many Beach Boys albums in stereo, I actually don't mind the mono mix of this album. I think it sounds really good. And on my turntable, this album sounds absolutely fantastic. Really high quality reissue right here for a very, very solid album in the Beach Boys catalog. And then moving on in their discography, I'm going to talk about this real quick. We got Beach Boys Party. Again, not one of my favorite Beach Boys albums, but I mean, I don't think that the intention behind this album was to make an absolute masterpiece. It's just a nice little filler record in between Summer Days and Pet Sounds. This is an original mono copy as well. I do not have the fan photos, unfortunately. I could have bought a copy with the fan photos, but I didn't, sadly. In terms of what I like on this album, Mountain of Love is really good, and you also have Barbara Ann. So, overall, decent album from the Beach Boys, but better things were to come. And boy, oh boy, they definitely came with Pet Sounds from 1966. Do I even need to elaborate on this record? This is progressive pop perfection. And this album really just is a benchmark in music history, music production, rock and roll at large. Like, this thing is just absolutely stunning front to back. Like, I recently watched Love and Mercy, and even though that movie was a dramatization of what was going on during the making of Pet Sounds. It really makes you think about how ahead of the curve Brian was in music production. I mean, you hear everything from Coca-Cola cans to bicycle horns, and it even showed the scene from when they were recording You Still Believe in Me, where he took bobby pins and plucked the piano strings. Like, man, this guy was 23, 24 years old, and he was just really just visionary. He was a visionary in terms of music composition and production. And it's just mind-boggling what Brian was able to create with this record. And every track has something meaningful to say. God Only Knows, that song makes me teary-eyed every single time. Here Today, I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, That's Not Me. Very existential songs that have meant a lot to me over the years. And Don't Talk, very meaningful song on the record as well. Caroline No, a beautiful closer. Just, it's a masterpiece. This album is an absolute masterpiece. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever perfect score you can possibly conjure up for this record. Another Analog Productions pressing, by the way. Again, in stereo. This is a 33 RPM single disc. Sounds phenomenal. Just a beautiful pressing of a beautiful record. And that is all there is to say about the masterpiece that is Pet Sounds. Definitely one of the coolest records in my collection coming up. I have a bootleg of Smile. And this is actually a fairly recent bootleg. I believe it came out in 2024, according to Discogs. And this is literally just a straight rip of the first disc of the Smile sessions. And this will keep me fairly happy until I can actually find and afford a copy of the Smile sessions, whether that be the box set or the standalone double LP version of it. And you guys know, Smile is an absolute masterpiece. Brian wanted to create a teenage symphony to God. He was very explorative and adventurous with this album, and he collaborated with Van Dyke Parks, who was a very abstract lyricist. But sadly, this album was shelved as Brian was just very overwhelmed creatively, and some of the band members, as well as Capitol Records, were on the fence about this music, so it just never really came to be. But I will say that if this album actually came out as intended, it would be the greatest album ever made, like eclipsing everything the Beatles made, eclipsing Marvin Gaye, and all the albums that were ranked #1 on a Rolling Stone or an AllMusic list or whatever. This would be up there, #1, no questions asked. I mean, this thing, even in its unfinished state, is absolutely terrific. It's terrific, and man, I wish it saw the light of day. And another Smile-related thing, I have the Good Vibrations single that came out, I think in like 2016 or 2017. It was sometime in the 2010s, and this just has the original 45 RPM single version, as well as various sessions, alternate takes, so on and so forth. And this is pressed on a really nice orange, like a sunburst marble type of color. Very beautiful. Up next, we got a twofer. A twofer, ladies and gentlemen. I got a 1970s reissue of both Smiley Smile and Friends in the same package. So Smiley Smile, after Smile was abandoned, Brian sought to create a stripped-down version of Smile, and he recorded this at his house with very cheap equipment, and it's a vastly different album from what was intended for Smile, but it still has some really great moments. I mean, it also has Good Vibrations on here, which is one of the greatest songs of all time. And I also love Heroes and Villains, obviously. Fall Breaks and Back to Winter is super abstract and surreal, but I think it's honestly really, really cool. Little Pad is really nice. With Me Tonight is also fantastic. Really cool vocal arrangements on that song, and Getting Hungry is also a really fun moment in the track list. Then you got Friends, which I do have the other album that's in between these. I'll get to that later. A lot of people absolutely love Friends. Personally, I don't really see it. I mean, I do think that Friends is a good album, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, it just doesn't do a whole lot for me compared to some of the other albums from this time period. But it does have some great songs on it, don't get me wrong. Like the title track, Wake the World, is very good. Be Here in the Morning. On side 2, I love Be Still. That is a great song. Busy Doing Nothing is also pretty enjoyable, but just not my favorite album by the Beach Boys. I don't know what it is about it. It just feels like something's missing, and I don't know what it could possibly be, but just something about it doesn't really grab me as much as some other Beach Boys records from this era. In terms of these pressings, they are stereo records, and they sound fantastic. Very, very good bass, very airy sounding, very quiet vinyl, just a very solid pressing. But I do wish that this package kept the original cover arts intact. And I actually put a little sticker as to which record is Smiley Smile on this and which one is Friends, so that I know. And I want to have a little visual cue of the cover art because I do really like the cover art for both of these albums. So yeah, that is my package of Smiley Smile and Friends. Up next, we got Wild Honey from 1967. And if you ask me, this is one of the most underrated Beach Boys albums in their discography. I love this thing front to back. This album, it says here, it's R&B flavored, which is very true. The band was influenced by a lot of soul and Motown on the recording of this album, and it just contains some of the group's best vocal performances, particularly from Carl, who steals the show on the title track as well as the hit from this album, Darlin'. Beautiful song. Some other great moments on this thing. You got Country Air, you got Here Comes the Night, and Let the Wind Blow. Just a lot of very pastoral, reflective moments on this record, and it's just fantastic. This is a fantastic record. And yeah, that's all I have to pretty much say about the album. This pressing is an original. I believe it's a stereo. I'm not entirely sure. It does sound a bit muddy, honestly, and I am looking to upgrade this record at some point too. I have my eye currently on the stereo repress from the 2010s. I think the 50th anniversary edition that uses the Sunshine Tomorrow mix, which sounds really good. But in the meantime, I have Wild Honey in my collection, and that's the most important thing. Another underrated album in the Beach Boys catalog, I got 2020, which is a very mixed bag of a record, don't get me wrong. Like, they had to pull songs from the Smile sessions, and it does feel a bit disjointed and all over the place, but man, these individual songs are so good. I mean, Do It Again recall some of the earlier surf stylings of the band, but done in a more psychedelic way, and it's just a fantastic song. I love their rendition of I Can Hear Music, an absolutely soaring vocal from Carl once again. All I Want to Do, proto-punk classic if you ask me. I actually really like that song a lot. And then you got I Want to Sleep, fantastic. Time to Get Alone, fantastic. And Never Learn Not to Love, which is written by a guy that I will not say in this video. I actually really, I actually really love that song. I kind of hate to admit it, but I do. And then you got Our Prayer and Cabin Essence to close the album out, which is a great 1-2 punch. Just a great record. This is also a 1980s reissue with the green Capitol label. Great sounding record. And yeah, this album really is one of the most underrated Beach Boys albums, if you ask me. Like, I mean, the problem is that as an album, it's kind of a weird album, but the individual songs are just so strong that I can't help but absolutely adore 2020. Up next is another Beach Boys masterpiece, if you ask me. One of the greatest albums of all time, one of my all-time favorites, and I think it's in the same league as Pet Sounds, and that is 1970's Sunflower. And how this album was a commercial failure when it came out in America 50-some years ago is something I will never understand, because this album right here is 30-some minutes of unbridled, ethereal joy. This is probably the most uplifting album I have ever heard and will ever hear. And you can tell that not only were the guys having so much fun making this record, but you can also tell that they stepped up their game considerably, and like everyone contributed in meaningful ways. Carl, Dennis, Al, Bruce, like they were all present on this record and made some of the greatest music ever on Sunflower. Slip On Through, great intro. This Whole World, another uplifting Brian Wilson staple with a gorgeous arrangement. And then you got some really ethereal, moving songs like Add Some Music to Your Day, Our Sweet Love, At My Window, and you also have All I Want to Do, which is the birth of dream pop, and I will forever be grateful to Brian and Carl for inventing dream pop and to some extent chillwave, shoegaze. Like, man, that track is so forward thinking for the time, and it's just a super dreamy, psychedelic joyride of a song. And this album is a 10 out of 10. This album is a perfect 10. Just a gorgeous, absolute masterpiece. This pressing that I own is from the Capitol Vaults reissue on heavyweight vinyl. Sounds amazing. And yeah, if you haven't listened to Sunflower yet, you are missing out big time. This album is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, one of my favorite Beach Boys records, for sure. Following Sunflower, which is one of the most uplifting albums of all time, I still find it a little bit amusing, but it makes a lot of sense that the Beach Boys would follow it up with a very gloomy album, probably the most somber album in their entire catalog. That is Surf's Up from 1971. I mean, everything from the title to the cover art and the music itself. This is the saddest Beach Boys album, if you ask me. But man, is this thing wonderful. This is another from the Capitol Vaults reissue on 180 gram vinyl. Sounds fantastic. And like, you can tell that the band was going through some hard times when you listen to this record. You know, their commercial success was waning considerably, and like, they were just at a crossroads. They had no clue what to do. But Jack Riley stepped in. He was like, we got to rebrand, guys, and they really rebranded. I mean, you got Don't Go Near the Water, which is a very environmentalist song, as well as, to an extent, A Day in the Life of a Tree, which, if you put it on and like someone didn't know it was the Beach Boys and you told them it was the Beach Boys, they wouldn't believe you. Just a super gloomy, depressive song. And then you got Till I Die. Man, what a powerful, powerful song. Even the version of Surf's Up from the Smile era, like, even that just feels so heavy emotionally compared to other recordings of that song. This album is just super, super down and depressed, but it just has some really great music on it. I mean, another few great songs. Long Promised Road, one of the best things Carl has ever done. Disney Girls is beautiful as well. One of the best things Bruce has done. And I'm not going to talk about Student Demonstration Time. Well, actually, I'm going to. I don't absolutely hate that song, but it definitely should not have been on this record, and it definitely brings the album down. But overall, great record and a great pressing of a great record. Up next, we got 1972's Carl and the Passion So Tough, and this is a 2014 stereo reissue, standalone copy, and it's on heavyweight vinyl once again. Sounds great. And this album brought another new direction for the band. This was the first to feature Blondie Chaplin, as well as Ricky Fataar. Both guys are from South Africa, and they made the Beach Boys incorporate more elements of like boogie rock and roots rock and country rock. And man, this album, I unironically think is a top 5 Beach Boys album if you don't include Smile. I think this album is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it is stylistically all over the place, but I mean, the songs on here are so fantastic. You Need a Mess of Help to stand alone as a badass opener. Marcella is power pop perfection. All This Is That. Very spiritual track. Some beautiful vocalizations from Carl and the rest of the gang. And you got Denny's tracks. Make Good. Man, what a phenomenal piece of music. And Cuddle Up legit makes me cry every single time I hear it. It is one of the most beautiful songs in their entire discography, and I will die on that hill. But man, So Tough is so good. I love this album. God, my mouth is so dry talking about all these Beach Boys albums. Next, we got Holland from 1973. And as the name would imply, they recorded this album in Holland. They were there for 6 months, and this was the last album to feature Blondie Chaplin and Ricky Fataar. So they were in and out of the band fairly quickly, but this is another solid outing from the Beach Boys. I don't like it as much as So Tough, admittedly, but it is still a really great album, particularly in the first half. I mean, you got Sail on Sailor, which is a badass opener. Man, what a song. And then you also have the California Saga, which incorporates like elements of like Americana mixed with sunshine pop, and it's just so incredible. I love all 3 parts of it. And then The Traitor. What a song. The Traitor is one of the best Beach Boys songs, period. It is so fantastic. In this pressing, I believe it's an original from 1973, VG Plus all the way through. Beautiful copy, and a beautiful sounding pressing, I will say. And this also comes with the 7-inch single, Mount Vernon and Fairway. So there you go. I have the complete Holland package here. And yeah. Alright, almost done with their studio albums that I own. Coming up next, we got Love You from 1977. Brian Wilson is back in the producer's chair. And this is basically a solo album, kind of like Pet Sounds, with some colorizations added in by the rest of the band. And this is a very unique album. I do know that Brian has gone on to state that this is his favorite Beach Boys album. And while it's not my favorite Beach Boys album, I can definitely admire what Brian was trying to do on this album. It's a very playful, synth-driven album, and it's kind of unusual musically, but it just works. Like, it has that Brian quirkiness that we all know and love, but when you mix it with some of the subject matters and, like, the gravelly voices that Brian and Dennis and some of the other band members now have, it's like, this is a very odd record, but man, it's just, there's something really wholesome about it that I really appreciate. And there's also like some great songs on here, like God, Please Let Us Go On This Way, The Night Was So Young, Good Time, I'll Bet He's Nice. Like, Mona is really fun. on this record. This is just a really solid album from the Beach Boys. Really solid stuff. The last studio album that I own by the Beach Boys on vinyl is the LA Light album, which is honestly not a bad album. I think that this album gets a very bad reputation because after Love You, they kind of transitioned into like an oldies act of sorts, and they were starting to just go into a more like soft rock, tropical rock type of sound, and it really wasn't the same after Love You. But I mean, LA Light album definitely has its moments. A good timing is a great opener on this record. Suma Hama I have a soft spot for as well, and I believe Shortening Bread is on here. Yep, it is the last song on the record. Not bad. Baby Blue, very good song. And this is a Caribou pressing. Sounds pretty good. And yeah, that's the LA Light album. Very quickly, I'm going to talk about the Beach Boys compilation albums that I own on vinyl. And the first one is Endless Summer from 1973. I believe this is a 75 reissue. And this mainly just features a lot of their classic surf era hits. And it put Beach Boys back on the map whenever this dropped. I believe this album went platinum, double platinum, triple platinum, something like that. It was a really high seller when it came out. And it's a very solid compilation by the Beach Boys. I also have Spirit of America, which I bought on vacation in Florida this year. I mainly bought this for Breakaway, which should have been on an album. It's one of my favorite Beach Boys songs, as well as The Little Girl I Once Knew. Very solid compilation. My favorite of the three that I own is this one, which is the very best of the Beach Boys, Sounds of Summer. And while it does mainly focus on their surf era hits, it also delves into some songs in the Pet Sounds era and later. Like you got Good Vibrations, of course, I Can Hear Music, Darlin', Do It Again, Heroes and Villains. Like, this is a very, very all-encompassing compilation right here. And this is a beautiful pressing. It's the Target exclusive orange marble vinyl. It looks and sounds fantastic. Up next, I'm going to show some 7-inch singles that I own by the Beach Boys. The first is Good Vibrations with Let's Go Away for a While. I also have a 7-inch copy of Breakaway. I don't know what happened with this label here. With Celebrate the News. And I also have another Smile era single. I got Heroes and Villains with You're Welcome. And for Carl and the Passions, I have Marcella on 7-inch with Hold On Dear Brother as the B-side. I am now going to show you the Beach Boys CDs that I own. The first one is a twofer that features Surfin' USA as well as Surfin' Safari. Currently have it in my car right now. I also have a CD of Today with mono and stereo mixes. The same goes for Pet Sounds from the same lineup, mono and stereo mixes. Then you have another twofer here. We got Sunflower with Surf's Up. And another twofer, we have Carl and the Passions, So Tough, bundled with Holland. I also have a copy of Endless Summer on CDs with the price tag still on there. And Sounds of Summer, the very best of the Beach Boys on CD. I'm now going to show you a couple of Brian Wilson solo albums. And I admittedly need to collect more of his solo discography, but this is what I currently have right now. This record is one of my most prized possessions, and that is a copy of Smile on vinyl. I won this on an eBay auction like 4 years ago, and even though the sleeve has seen better days, like there's creasing right here, I think there's a seam split up here, the wax is still near mint, it sounds phenomenal, Brian Wilson resurrected Smile from the dead 37 years later after it was supposed to come out, and even though this version significantly differs from his original vision, this is still nothing shy of a masterpiece. Front to back, this thing is absolutely phenomenal, and it's the closest thing we'll ever get to an official version of Smile, and I think that we have a lot to be grateful for in that respect. I mean, this thing is an absolute masterpiece. It's quirky, it's zany, it's profound, like, it's just a masterpiece through and through. Gotta love Smile. I also owned Smile on CD. The other Brian Wilson solo album that I own is That Lucky Old Sun from 2008, and this album, guys, is absolutely terrific. I actually discovered this this year, and the first time I heard it, I was blown away. Like, this album is gorgeous, and I found this copy very affordably. I think it was only $10 at a local record store. 180 gram vinyl. Sounds fantastic. And yeah, I mean, this is a late career slam dunk for Brian Wilson, if you ask me. Morning Beat is stunning. Good Kind of Love is sunshine pop perfection. Forever She'll Be My Surfer Girl is super sentimental. Love that song. And then side 2, you really get into some emotional tracks with Midnight's Another Day and Southern California. I heard that song after Brian passed away, and it made me very, very sad. But hopefully he is indeed singing with his brothers somewhere. This is just a beautiful, beautiful record. If you haven't listened to it yet, you need to do so ASAP. And that's going to do it for my Beach Boys music collection, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you watch it till the end, I greatly appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe and all that other YouTube lingo. Comment what your favorite Beach Boys album is. I would love to know. And long live the Beach Boys. Long live Brian Wilson. Thank you so much for all the wonderful music that you have made throughout the years. It has changed my life, and for millions of other people as well. We thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts. We love you. We will miss you. May you rest in peace. I hope you're singing with Dennis and Carl somewhere. So take it easy, keep spinning that vinyl, and I will see you in the next video.